guys bow your heads and pray with me? Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this beautiful country that you've given us to live in, God. Thank you for the freedoms that you've given us, the rights that you've given us. We thank you for our military, for those who protect our freedoms on a daily basis, God. We just pray for all levels of government, up to the president, all the way down to the local governments. God, I pray that you will be with our leaders and our officials, that you will give them wisdom, that they will make decisions that protect our freedoms, that protect our rights, and that are the best decisions for the common good of the Americans. God, I pray for peace in this country. I pray for peace in the world. Anywhere where there's wars going on, turmoil going on, God, I pray that you just comfort people, that you show them your face, and that people will come to know you. We pray specifically for Bedford Township, God. I just pray that this township will be a light to the world around us, God, that we will honor you in what we do, that we will be a great place for people to grow their families, to grow their churches, to grow their businesses, that your name will be known in Bedford Township. We pray these things in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Okay, item 2 is the approval of the agenda.
I'd like to remove 8B. After review, it was found that the 2-foot reserve strip was dedicated to Monroe County Road Commission, not the township. Therefore, the Road Commission will need to release it.
Okay.
Motion to approve the agenda as amended. Support.
Okay, motion and supported. Was that Mr. Gore?
Yes.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Ms. Janasek?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni?
Aye, the motion passed 7-0. Item 3 is the consent agenda. The agenda committee recommends to approve and place on file A, minutes from the May 7th, 2024 regular meeting of the Bedford Township Board. B, general savings, pooled funds, and CETA reports from the treasurer for April 2024. C, the balance sheet and revenue expense report for the period ending April 30th, 2024.
Motion to approve the consent agenda. Support.
Okay, motion and supported by Mr. Gore. Any discussion? Okay, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Ms. Janasek?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni?
Aye, the motion passed 7-0. Item 4, we have the Monroe County Sheriff's Department update. Come on up.
Good evening, Joe Hammond with the Sheriff's Office. You have your stats in the packet for the month. Nothing, another month where there really wasn't anything that stands out about them. They're pretty on point, or standard for what's been going on lately. The speed data, again, we're in the 90% compliance rate where the speed signs are at, so we're doing well there. I would like to comment that it's that time of year again where you have a number of, well, hopefully not a number of, but you do have some level of unscrupulous contractors or those that are out there just to defraud the public that will come around, whether it's door to door or even putting some kind of literature in your mail, offering their services to the typical ones that we find most fraudulent are driveway sealing projects or roofing projects. So I just ask that the public, if you are interested or do have a need for one of those projects, that you do take the time to assess the company that's coming out, look into them, check for some references, check their history, make sure they've been around a while, that it's not somebody that just came into town looking to defraud you out of as much as they can get from you.
The one thing that we did talk about last week was the solicitor's permit. So before they're allowed to knock on anybody's door, they have to come to the clerk's office and get a solicitor's permit, which Trudy then runs a background check and vets the company. So I've told homeowners, if somebody knocks on your door, the first thing you ask is, show me your solicitor's permit. It has to be on their person, and if they don't have it, that means they don't have one.
Perfect.
So at that point, you call the ordinance department or the police, and I ask every resident to do that, and it'll help us out. Call the ordinance department, call the police department.
Very good.
A lot of times people are getting scammed. I heard of somebody getting scammed, I think, of $8,000 last month. So it's still happening.
Yeah, so we do watch for those scams. The other thing to watch out for that's even a little more dangerous, if you will, than that scam is we'll have, there's groups that'll come around. You're working out in the front yard doing maybe some lawn work. They'll come up to approach you. Hey, yeah, we can do roofing, siding, gutters. If there's more than one of them, one will walk you to the backyard while the other one comes in through your front door and actually steals from your home while you're there, right out from under your nose. So just a word of warning, if there's more than, you have that where they're just approaching you, stay in the front yard, discuss it, set up another time, check their solicitor's permits, make sure that they're legit before
How's it been going with distracted driving? Because I feel like it's gotten worse.
That's a
Distracted
continual
drivers.
battle.
Yeah.
Continuous battle. With the summer, again, we look at the summer months, there's obviously more traffic, but you have windows down where you can see. Sometimes you can't see into the cars with tinting or any other situations going on, but now we can see, and you can see that there's more of that, and we're still continuing to focus on it and take enforcement action when we see it.
Anybody else have any comments, questions? Nope. You have anything else you'd like to add? No. As always, we appreciate you being here.
All right.
Appreciate everything you guys do.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
All right. 4B, Fire Department Annual Report. Chief Van Klingeren.
Good evening. If I can get this going here. Does everyone have a copy, or have you seen a copy of the annual report that we sent out?
Yes, sir.
Trying to make sure we do have extra copies if anyone needs one. Okay, perfect. So first of all, thank you for giving us some time here just to come and give you an update of what we had done in 23. As we go through the slides, you will see in the bottom right-hand corner there will be a page number that will coincide to the annual report that you have in front of you. So it may, some of the charts may be easier to see on the report. Hopefully we did blow them up enough on the PowerPoint to make it easy to see. So we like to start everything with our mission statement. Mission of the Bedford Township Fire Department is to save, serve, and protect the citizens and their property to the best of our ability. And we do that through training. We do that through as much information as we possibly can. And as we go through the slides, we're going to see that we may be higher in percentage on some type of calls, and what we look at is we look at the lower percentage of calls, and that's what we train on. And that's how we do that to try and hold that mission statement. A couple of things that we're proud of, not in 23, but just recent. They did start at that point in time. Our EMT class that we had, we just graduated 12 students. They took their final state practical on Saturday. They did all complete that. So they are going to schedule and sit for their state written test next. So we're proud of that. We will have hopefully 12 more EMTs in the area throughout Monroe County that will be serving their communities. Second thing is, if you remember last year when we did that EMT program, we actually hired 3 people prior to having their fire experience, and we sent them to school. That was part of our step process of bringing EMTs, look at training them into the fire side. We did that with 3 individuals, and they just graduated from their fire academy last week. So now we're going to bring them back in and start doing orientation for the fire side. So that part of the process has worked. So we're pleased with that. The other thing that we did last year was we took 2 individuals and we started sending them to paramedic school. One of those individuals did pass. He was successful in the program and did pass his national registry. So that is kind of the third step that we're looking for as far as education point, and now we're looking for longevity, hopefully to bring them in and keep them to retirement. So, and with that paramedic he graduated and then passed his testing about 4 to 6 weeks ago or so. So he has been in our training program with another paramedic until we can bring him up to speed and is comfortable with him until we can release him on his own, which is a standard process for that. About 3-4 weeks ago, and I'm going to be kind of specifically vague on this just so we're not giving out patient information. He did have a run, and we kind of look at the acuity of the runs. So a high acuity is something that's going to be more serious versus a low acuity. He got called out to a middle-aged, 40-year-old-ish, unresponsive person. They did get there. They found that this person was not breathing, did not have a pulse, and he was able to get in there, deliver a shock very quickly. They were able to regain pulses on scene, and the person did start breathing on scene again. So last we knew, they were still in the hospital, but again, that has been quite a bit of time ago. So we are pleased with that.
Can I just point something out to that?
Yes.
So before we went to advanced life support, Bedford Township couldn't go to work on that individual.
So we would have been using, in what he used was one of the cardiac monitors that we purchased last year. That way we can do manual defibrillation versus an AED. So you can actually hone in a little bit better on the electricity and give the care that actually that person would need at the time.
Just point out that because of the previous work of moving towards advanced life support, we're saving more lives in our.
Yes, we are very pleased
The numbers
with.
have jumped up a lot as well. The numbers have jumped up a lot as well, from how many call runs we used to do to today.
Yes.
It's probably more due to that as well,
Yes. Yeah, I mean, we're trying to bring a level of service as what you would get in the hospital to the doorstep is what our goal is. So in that kind of the process that we're using right now, the education that we're doing, we're moving in a very good direction to do that. So we appreciate the board and we appreciate the support of all the residents and the business owners.
You really didn't hear it. I said it used to be basic life support, and because we moved to advanced life support, that's how we're able to go to work directly on patients.
Yes.
So,
yeah. We were able to bring much more care to that bedside.
Before, we used to have to wait for, MCA, Monroe County Ambulance, which sometimes they could be in Dundee, and we'd have to wait.
Yes, correct.
So it's a big deal.
So yes. So now we're kind of getting into the numbers of it. And again, we're just giving a very high level view of it. You've already had it in your packet, so I don't want to spend too much time on it tonight. But just kind of looking at our run numbers. And what I did is I dated back to 2019 until current. And the reason I use that is the millage we started in 2020, so we use the data for the millage off of 2019 statistics. So as you can see, we have had an increase. Luckily, we're no longer at a double-digit increase of run volume. That has kind of broke for now. So last year, 2023, we're at a 3% increase. And that's where we expect to see that level of increase is something that we can move with, we can grow with. When we start to jump up too quickly, that's when we will start to have service issues. So next year, this year I should say, we're expecting to see just under 4,200 runs for the township. Most of our runs are going to be medical, and I apologize for anyone in the audience. That one's kind of hard to see. So that one has 71% of our runs right now are medical calls. If you look at the good intent and the service call, those will also include the times that we're called to homes for a non-medical reason. So it could be a lift assist, it could be a piece of medical equipment that's malfunctioning, it could be a lot of different reasons. So the 71% for the medical is going to be a little bit higher. Traditionally, we see about 75% if you count, the medical assist that we do and things like that. But again, what we're looking for and what we're training with, we're training every day. We're trying to train with the things that we have the low percentages of. If you look on there, we had 73 fires. Those are the things that we want to train on consistently. Those events that are they could be very dangerous to the responder, and we're not doing it as frequently. So those are the events that we're training on continuously to try and deliver that service at a high level. A couple of things that we look at is we're constantly looking at data. This right here is going to be 24-hour span of the day. Last year, our higher volume hours were more grouped together from late afternoon up until mid-afternoon to evening time frame. we're now starting to see higher run volumes around 10 a.m. So they're going to about 10 a.m. to about 8 p.m. With that, we rely very heavily on our part-time staff. One of the reasons we do that is to try and keep our budget lower. As we see the run volumes increase during the times that our part-time staff would be at their normal jobs, we may have to start to revisit our model. And we may need to start adding more full-time people in there if we can't produce those run volumes in those times. But our peak times right now, 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. is where we're seeing the highest amount of calls. And as we get into this, we'll also show that we also look at daytime. We also look at days. On this scale from 2023, our busiest day was on Saturday. This is taking the whole picture of 2023. So keep in mind, we not only look at the whole year, we look at seasons, we look at months. For an example, in July, for our staffing this July, we actually curtailed it to last July's run volume. And last June's run volume, our highest volume day was actually on a Friday. So this chart is representative of the entire year. However, the data that we use is more specific to the time of the year, the month, things of that is what we're actually using to schedule off of. So for June, we did increase staffing on 2 days, so that way we have Station 1 staffed more than just the evening hours of what we have been doing, just so that way we can try and keep up with that run volume. This chart right here shows that we had the 4,072 calls for the year. If you look at it, anything additional, so second call, third call, fourth call, are all happening at the same time. As soon as we have one call in this township, half of our resources are depleted. We keep 2 people staffed at one station, 2 people staffed at the other station. So as soon as we get a simple medical, half of our resources are automatically depleted. Of that 889 times throughout the year, we depleted 100% of our resources. So those are kind of things that we're looking at to see where we need to change some things schedule-wise. If we do need to change some things personnel-wise, the idea is we want to be able to make it to that scene quickly. Likewise, third calls, we've seen it 191 times, and then as we're getting to fourth calls, and these are all repetitive, so you're getting called 1, 2, 3, 4, we've seen that now 47 times. Those have all increased from last year's numbers. So we are looking at that, trying to make the best decisions possible that we can to keep the right staffing at the right times. For our transports have actually decreased this year slightly. We still use Monroe Community Ambulance as a primary. Our goal, though, is we want to provide that service immediately. So when we arrive on scene, we want to start providing that care. If that person, if it's the best benefit for them for immediate transport, we will start transport immediately. If the ambulance is delayed, if there's not one available, if the rest of the county is very busy, we will transport. As we do those transports, one, we want to make sure that resident, that business owner, that patron gets to that hospital. But we also want to make sure as soon as we take that transport out of the community to a hospital, they're going to be tied up for about 40, 45 minutes. So with that, we have lost half of our staffing at that point. So that's why we do things, we try and do some judgment calls throughout the day, depending on what's going on around us, the rest of the county, and those are how we make those decisions. If somebody is a non-acuity patient and they're stable, we will wait for the ambulance to get there for them to transport. So, also looking at this, we will look at the stations. It's probably not going to be a surprise. Station 3 is our busiest station. That's about half of our run volume. Station 2 accounts for about 39% of our run volume. Station 1 is 3%, and then we'll do all calls, meaning every station will respond about 8% of the time. That will happen for fires, for accidents, for calls that is going to require more than 2 people. And those are numbers that if you look back probably even 10, 20 years, those are probably pretty consistent numbers just with the volume changing on it. So this map right here is a very typical map that you see in the township. I try to blow it up as much as possible just so we can use it for point of reference. One of the things that we also track is locations of calls, and we'll use a heat map to track that. So as I change this color-wise, you'll see that there is different shades of color in there. The red is going to be the highest volume that we have. Then it goes to blue, then orange, then yellow, and then green. So as we transition this over, you can see that our stations are in the right locations. And we can expect, as far as populated areas, that that's where our call volume is. So there's going to be no real surprise on that. The other thing that we did do is we did bump up our inspection program again for 2023. So if you look inspections for 22, we're at 500. We doubled that to about 1,200 for the inspections. One of the things we're doing with that is if we can get into every business. Obviously, we know that fires in businesses are not frequent. However, if we do have a fire in a business, you have a high health hazard with that. Typically, if you do have that business open, you do have patrons inside that business. So we want to make sure that those doors aren't chained up, that they're following all the regulations that they should be, so that way we can make sure that we're getting everyone safely out of that building if needed. So with that, again, I wanted to do a pretty high level of I don't want to go page by page for this. If you do have any questions at any point in time, feel free to reach out to me. Does anyone have any questions about it tonight? Yes, sir.
Chief, I got a question. So when we're talking about resources, and there's been several times you've been 100% depleted. Now today, I received an email that law enforcement is no longer able to disregard EMTs or fire. Are you aware that that's
Yes.
coming out?
Yes.
So prior, when we would roll up on scene, let's say it's just something like a minor unknown, it always comes in as a unknown PI, personal injury accident. We get there is no injuries, hey, disregard fire and EMTs. We can no longer do that. But that's where, that's tying up resources for a call that they shouldn't be. And now we're mandated we can no longer do that.
So, and I think, and I would have to look at specifics on that, I think what the medical director did was throughout the county, I think he was looking at instances of maybe that a medical unit was canceled, and then a few minutes later they were redispatched out. So I would have to say it was probably a coveted statement of no longer canceling. The other thing that was brought into the county recently is that we have like a mental health response unit. So the medical director right now is still working kind of with protocols and seeing what exactly we can do as far as if we do have a mental health patient, if we can now turn over care to another entity, which would be the mental health unit. So I do know that he's looking at that. The other thing that we are looking at doing is trying to decrease run volume. Obviously, that's very difficult for us. But we're looking right now for, and it isn't just us, it's throughout the entire county, a nursing facility. If they have nursing care on site and the patient is low acuity, non-emergent, maybe they're going to the hospital for lab work, or maybe they had lab work, they came back, that wasn't right. What they are looking to do is so fire does not have to respond on that for that reason, to free up resources.
It just struck me odd seeing that email today, and we're talking about tying up resources when we have an opportunity to free up resources, and our hands are getting tied because we can no longer do that.
Yes, and when Dr. Kempel is the medical director for the county, probably 5, 6, 7 months or so ago, he did come out with, if there was no patient, that a medical unit or fire can be canceled. My presumption is that over the course of the time that he had changed that, there may have been some situations where maybe somebody was injured, went to the hospital themselves, a unit was canceled, and then maybe recalled back out a few minutes later. So without knowing specifics, talking to them, that would be my guess.
Well, hopefully there'll be some discussion and maybe some change to that so we can free up resources, and especially when they're not needed. Because there's plenty of times fire will be en route, get there, you know what, we don't need fire, it could be just a lift assist or something easy. And my understanding is we can't even do that anymore.
Yes, and I do believe that he is working with dispatch right now also, because there was some confusion in dispatch as to who could and who couldn't cancel and when they should and shouldn't.
Right.
So it could have just been a blanketed statement of this is how we're going to do it for now until we get it worked out,
Then changes.
and then go from there.
Okay. All right. Thank
So,
you.
yes. Any other?
I just want to point out how thankful I am this board voted to put you in this position. You've been doing such a fine job.
Yes.
And I'm proud of the work that you've done with the fire department, and so professional and just solid.
Well, we appreciate
Yeah,
it.
we're-
Again, we've got a good group of people in the department, and we're just
Without a
trying to
good,
continue
without a
on.
great leader, it doesn't work well. And you've
You
done
know,
a
I
great
was gone
job.
on vacation last week, and everything ran perfect.
So we appreciate you.
Yes, no, thank you.
Steiner?
I was going through the equipment, and again, same thing. You've done a great job in future planning. You got this all scheduled out very well. Which years you have to replace and what to look for, estimated numbers. So with your projections that you have in here for these replacements,
Yes.
where does the millage fall? Do you believe that you will have to increase millage at some time in the near future on like the next renewal? Or do you think that we can continue on the same path that we are today and not have to go for any increases? Where does that sort of fall in line at this point?
So so we have two millages. As far as equipment, I think that one is sustainable for longer. For the operations, that one we may have to start looking at. Again, when it was voted in 2020, it was using data from 2019 and previous. We've seen a very sharp increase in run volume in that 2020 timeframe. That's all agencies nationwide has seen that. That it just wasn't expected, it wasn't planned for. Not that there was anything, you could never have seen it. There would have been no reason to suggest that was going to happen.
And obviously, you've got a handle on it. I mean, when it comes to planning against your budget and the millage dollars with the equipment, I think it's only going to get worse for a while longer when it comes to the lead time. So you're going to have to not only plan it, you're going to have your lead time. And what was that last ambulance that they were doing? Almost a year and 8 months?
Yeah, so we're still, as of right now, we're hoping to get that fourth quarter.
But I mean, isn't that the general time
Yes.
frame to get an ambulance even, let
Yes.
alone the big
And
rig?
right now, I believe they're pushed out even 3 years at this point.
Yeah, so I know that's going to be a big challenge for you at some point too.
Yes.
Just the timing
Yes.
and planning. I've got to have this X budget in 3 years, and we all know when I ordered with a company some major specialized equipment trucks. We took numerous price increases also, even after they were ordered. And I know this has got to work the same way.
Yes. Yes, and you will see that we are having an increase to our fund balance. And one of the reasons we're doing that is for capital improvements, just kind of planning that out. So, and one of the things I will say right now, being we're talking about the ambulance, I am pleased to say we came back when we requested the ambulance maybe a little bit over a year ago. We did request secondary funding from the township if for some reason we did not have full funding, and we will be at full funding by the time we receive it. So we will be able to pay cash for it.
Good.
So
Good job.
that's hopefully the goal going forward.
Great. Nice work.
Okay, anybody else?
Yeah, I have one. Hey, Chief, have you guys started billing it all, the insurance companies, for the runs you're able to?
Yes.
That's good.
Yep. Yeah, so we sent it to a third-party billing company that handles all the legwork. They contact out for the insurance companies. They have all the contacts with the insurance companies. And we see a pretty steady flow of income from that per month.
Good.
So, and again, we're using that right now to improve the EMS system, because right now it is coming from the EMS billing. So we're using that money for the improvements of the system, for vehicles, for equipment, so that way it's actually going for a reason with that.
Well, we appreciate you being here.
Okay. Sounds
Appreciate
good.
everything.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, up next is public comments. Comments limited to 5 minutes for board agenda items only. Just state the agenda item you'll be speaking on. Looks like no comments.
Nope, Gail's coming.
I'm just kidding. I saw her coming.
Okay, 1056 West Temperance. Thanks, Todd, for asking that question, because that was one of mine. And I also, in regards to 8B, I realize that it is off of the agenda, so to speak, but in regards to that, I want to thank those on the BZA who did vote no in that matter. And it would be nice, I asked Mr. Welling before the meeting if he would be able to put the picture up of the map, because I had some questions about that. And apparently planning has not been giving a disc to them to use during the meeting so that we could have that map of that whole description put up there. It really would be conducive for the public to understand the stuff. It's quite complicated.
Can we interrupt for 1 second? We've got a wrong agenda on the screen.
George, you want to fix the agenda?
We can fix the agenda.
Lori? It's on the screen wrong. I was looking at my paper one, so I didn't.
Yep, same.
That's why I was trying to compare when she said 8B. I'm like, that doesn't match.
Did you pause her time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Lori.
Okay. So at any rate, that's just a comment that I have. And I would love to have our public meetings and hearings posted somehow on the township's webpage, on the front page, upcoming public hearings or anything like that, so that people are aware in reading through the information in the packet on that particular topic. There was a public hearing, and so posting on the properties or whatever, which a lot of other townships do, would be conducive to getting people out and trying to understand what's going on with these. And if I understand through the notes that this entire process tonight was just that one little piece that they had to get permission for, that this entire process will come back before the board. And I hope you take the information that's in the packet tonight and study it, because it really is a conglomerate. It's a mess. And you really are going to have your heads on for that one. And can anybody tell me if it's going to the road offices for the hearing? Do we know when that will be taking place? And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Gail. Any more comments?
Good evening, Logan Tisdale, 1308 Brandywine Street. This is in regards to 8D, drinking fountains in the different parks there, Carr, Samaria, White, and Parmalee. Got a question about how will the water be supplied? Is that through South County Water? Who maintains those drinking fountains? I'm concerned about the supply of the water. What do they do in the wintertime with those? Do they close them down there so they don't freeze, or is there a way of protecting that so that we don't get busted pipes? And who pays for the cost of that? Does that come from the township? Does that come from the park board, or how is that financed? I'd like to know. I'm just curious about, I've drank at a lot of public ones when I lived out east and stuff, so that's not a problem, but I'm concerned about how it's going to be supplied. Is it going to be through South County Water? Will they have a hookup there? Who pays for the hookup and things like that? Thank you.
Any more comments? Okay. Moving on to AA, vouchers for payment. Ms. Hirschberger.
I'd like to make a motion that the following vouchers be approved for payment. General Fund, $77,941.23. Fire District, $16,648.94. Fire Equipment, $1,091.17. Downtown Development, $1,431.33. Library operating $8,458.79. Transit system $105. Building department $1,989.74. Sewer O&M fund $458,758.81. Trust and agency fund $145 for a grand total of $566,570.01.
Support.
Okay, motion and support of Ms. Januzak. Any discussion? Okay, could you call the roll, please?
Hirschberger votes aye. Ms. Januzak?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Mr. Prony?
Aye, the motion passed 7-0. Item 8C, approve the permit for the June 2024 fireworks display. Do you have any comments, questions? Ms. Hirschberger, if you'd like to add anything?
No, this is the same permit we get every year for the fireworks. We just have to approve it by this board.
Okay, look for a motion.
Make the motion that we approve the 2024 permit for fireworks.
Support.
Okay, motion and support of Mr. Bruning. Any discussion? Okay, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Ms. Janusik?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Prony?
Aye, the motion passed 7-0. Item 8D, approve the installation of drinking fountains at Carr, Samaria, White, and Parmalee Parks. Chris Schlegel, come on up. To answer your questions, the township pays for the water. It'll be provided through South County Water. We maintain them, and we shut them off every year.
It's currently there. It's currently available at the parks, too.
Yeah, we have them at the parks right now. So
Yes, there are currently drinking fountains at each of the parks. These are replacing current ones that haven't been opened in the last couple of years due to them not being.
if you could just talk closer to the mic, well, if you could pull it closer to you or not, but
They're being replaced due to them not being functional. So, South County Water provides to 3 of the parks. Samaria Park is on a well where the health department does an inspection, I believe, twice a year. So.
all right, Chris. You got to add anything or to this agenda item?
I mean,
Anything else you wanna say?
our board looked over the bids. We went with advanced plumbing is what we had decided on, and that's what we were asking you guys to decide on. I can't remember all the company names off the top of my head right now. I believe.
So we have the packet.
Yeah, we have them.
Yeah,
Any questions for Chris about the bids? Okay.
Mr. Prony?
Questions?
Rick has one.
So, Chris, I know that I saw a comment in here about they thought that Monroe Plumbing being the lowest bid, that there may be things in there that may be needed that are not necessarily in this price.
So the new drinking fountains have a freeze valve that has to be buried a few feet in the ground, and their bid is to only replace above ground, and anything extra is at an hourly rate that is described in the bid.
Okay, so that would be one good thing to see when we have these is what was actually in the bid, what was supposed to be. You know, doesn't say. I mean, we don't have a copy of the bid itself, so it doesn't tell us that, hey, we need to break ground, we need to dig down to do this, this, and this. I saw one of them mention quite a big spend if they were doing concrete work. It would be nice to know what's actually in the bid request.
So this wasn't put out for public bid. We had sought for bids. I believe the advanced plumbing one, the maintenance department had acquired for us. The one that is about $5,500 per drinking fountain was acquired by one of our board members, and the one with the unforeseen pricing was also acquired by one of our board members.
I mean, Monroe Plumbing is great. They do good work. I mean, we've dealt with them, but we've dealt with Advanced as well. They do great work too.
Are we confident that Advanced is aware of, like, their bid is pretty simple compared to RA Rush?
So
are we confident that
they're the only ones that I know of that physically came out and looked at the drinking fountains we purchased?
Is Advanced?
Yes.
Oh.
Mr. Gore?
My question is, piggybacking off of Mr. Montroy, it is a very vague estimate, and it doesn't say anything about installing freeze-resistant valve system in Advanced. I mean, neither does Monroe Plumbing, and Monroe Plumbing theirs were, or RNA is possible total for 4 fountains installed. I don't like seeing possible as a number, but.
Yeah. From my understanding, Advanced Plumbing's bid is for all work that is necessary and involved.
I understand that you're understanding, but it's not in writing. It's not in the bid. That does concern me. I don't want them to come back and say, oh yeah, it's an extra $1,400 for this, for install the freeze valve.
I believe that would be a better question for Phil. Is that possible for them to do that with the way they've written their bid?
Anything is possible.
Yeah.
So, 40 years of practicing law has taught me that. But to Joe's point, I think if the board is inclined to approve the advanced bid, approve it with the understanding that we'll get back a worksheet or a contract or a proposal that specifically states everything to be done for that price, which is required by our park commission. Does that make sense?
So did Monroe Plumbing say how much extra it would be to install the freeze lines? Did they say they were going to install them?
No, they told me they told me that it would be an hourly rate for them to come out and do exploratory work, and we would have to pay them to come out and look to see what could possibly need to be done, because with it being underground work, there's no way to tell.
Vance actually came out and saw the fountains, and Pat told them what the specifics were, because the instructions were there from the drinking fountains on what they were going to require, what they needed to be, and Vance was the only one that went out and saw all that information. So if they bid it incorrectly, they had all the information.
Yeah, just look at their bid quotes. It's quite a bit different. Mr. Bruni?
No, that's what I was going to say. I was going to make sure, because from our meeting, I'm pretty sure Pat was with Advanced Plumbing, so he knew all the information. Trudy just verified that.
Mr. Prony, one extra question here too is, I did see R.A. Rush talked about the concrete, 40 square feet of concrete. Seems like a decent size amount of concrete, and for one fountain. So I'm wondering if they contemplated. I know it says 1 at the top of their bid.
Yeah, their bid was confirmed that is for 1, but there's not 40 square feet of concrete at any one of our drinking fountains.
That's what threw me there. That's why I wondered if it was, 40 square at 10 at each one. That's why I maybe think about that.
Anybody else have any comments, questions?
Just one more thing, and I don't know Chris or Trudy, but I'm looking at the bid for Advanced, and it says we accept cash, check, or any major credit card with a 3.75% processing fee. Is that just? I'm assuming it would be a check. We would pay by that. And
Yeah,
be a credit card.
we would definitely do check, and we have worked with them before in the past, and
Right.
there's no
I just
extra
don't want
charge.
to incur a 3.75 processing fee.
No, it would definitely be
I
a
don't
check.
like the garbage fees.
No.
Yeah, I believe that's only for credit card processing.
Okay, I look for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept the bid for Advanced Plumbing to install the 4 drinking fountains, but with the caveat that Phil added for the language in there for a more in-depth quote. Is that good, Phil?
Just pursuant to the manufacturer's specification of what we will be providing for them to install. Just make sure they're clear and that we're clear that they're gonna install those units pursuant to the manufacturer's specifications and do any and all work required to do that, including underground work.
I think, specifically saying, install freeze-resistant valve systems.
Yeah, it's got to say that.
That's the important part.
Yep. You good with that, Chris?
Yeah.
For that quote.
Yeah.
And if it's different,
Yeah,
it
if
comes
it's
back
different,
to
it
this
comes
board.
back.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm sure they know because they're the only ones who went out and looked at it.
Because the other one actually mentioned three different things. You got the freeze-resistant valve system, pressure-reducing valve, and the ground valve box access. So I would say those.
And will the building department be out there to inspect these before they bury them, to make sure it's done up to code?
I believe all plumbing in the township is supposed to have a permit pulled.
Yeah, so we'll just make sure Dennis takes a look at them before they bury them, so we know it's done.
Okay.
Just make sure, Chris, that they do the work, they pull the permit, and so our plumbing inspector can come out before the work's covered up.
Yeah, that's important.
I'll second that with all the amendments.
Okay, those are all amendments. Could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Ms. Janusek?
Aye.
Hirschberger votes aye. Mr. Peroni?
Aye, the motion passed 7-0. Chris, thank you for being here. If you weren't here, it wouldn't have passed.
Oh, yeah. No, thank you guys. Have a great night.
Appreciate it.
No, it wouldn't have.
Okay, number 9, comments from the public. Comments limited to 2 minutes. Come on up.
Lamar Frederick, 3254 Deer Creek Drive. I'm sorry you took B off because I thought that guy was kind of inventive. He took one stub street and made two. And it used to be the rule was you couldn't take a driveway off a stub street. So in any event, that's what I was going to talk about. But it was kind of inventive, the way he did that. I don't know what the Planning Commission's going to do with this, and I don't know what the Road Commission's going to do with this, but that's kind of an interesting situation with the way that developed. But what I'm really up here for is Memorial Day's coming up, folks. And that is a time why a lot of folks go off to the lake, and they go off to the cottage, and they have a lot of fun. But its original and intended purpose was to remember those who served, those who are serving, and those who are about to serve in the United States military. In the past, we've had veterans on our board, Joe. Bob Schockman. Walt Dindoffer was a prisoner of war twice. And so we've had them serve not only our community, but we've had them served in our government. So while we're going to party maybe on Memorial Day,
We'll get Todd, too.
take them up, huh? Todd,
Remember,
yeah.
sir.
I don't want to forget him.
He's just jealous because he's Air Force, I'm Marine.
Well,
I set my goal a
we
little
didn't
higher.
know. We didn't think much about Marines. You know?
I didn't want to let that slide. So keep going, Lamar. Sorry, give him 5 more seconds.
Yeah, in any event. So just take a minute to remember all those who have served. And pretty soon, coming out of the academy, we used to call them butterballs because they had a yellow bar for second lieutenant. And we called them butter bars. So those guys are going to serve too, and they're coming in at a time when this world is kind of in a tension, and so they may have to serve and do some things that none of us had to do. But in any event, I'd hope the folks in the community would take minutes to think about those who have served. And we will have the Memorial Day program at the Lambertville Cemetery, as we've had for at least the 25 years that I know of. And there will be a ceremony there where the American Legion, the VFW, and others will make a presentation to remember those who served and those who died. Thank you.
Which I might add, it's very moving. Trudy, your husband playing taps this year?
Mm-hmm. He plays every year.
Lamar, thank you for saying that. That was well worded. Gail, coming up? Nope. Oh, okay. All right, last chance. Anybody else? Josh?
Oh,
Okay.
banana boy.
Josh Niederkor, 7948 Wiseman, Lambertville. Just want to congratulate the chief. That was a really good report. Hope to see a lot more doing well with the fire department, and I'm glad we're finally getting these drinking fountains put in the parks and replaced. They've been needed for a long time. Thanks.
All right. Anybody else? Okay, moving on to comments from board members. Mr. Steiner?
I, too, wanted to reiterate the fact of remembering those who served, who will be serving in the future. I saw at our home office, at our headquarters at work, they've got a really nice presentation set up. There's a table in our lobby, and it's got various things on the table, from a red ribbon to red rose to the white tablecloth, and there's a reason for every one of these things. And there's a chair that is tilted forward up against the table, and that is to recognize as an unclaimed seat, and that's basically for those that didn't come home. So I thought it was a pretty powerful message to our employees of our company, and people really respect that, and I've seen a lot of people stop and look at it and read it, so pretty cool. So again, thanks to all of those who have served, who will be serving, and God help them all if we have to put them into action. That's all.
Okay, Mr. Montry.
I'm debating if I was going to say anything. I don't know. Something I've had a lot of questions about personally, and hearing from residents, is the mulch at the parks and what's going on with that. So if we can get an update from anybody on the situation that's been sitting there for however long.
Come on up, Chris.
Not a problem. So White Park 3B is offered to help us spread the mulch at the playgrounds there. Maintenance helped us and got it into the playgrounds for them to make it much easier. Car Park, the majority of it has been spread. The pile that's sitting there is for other pocket parks and such. We use that location with it being so close to the maintenance garage, so they can use their equipment much quicker and efficiently. The misdemeanor probation program are the ones that went and spread mulch at Car Park over the weekend. They were a little overwhelmed with the amount of mulch there, and speaking with him, he is going to attempt and help us get some more done there and at Samaria Park. And other than that, I mean, that's the only one.
So they're spread at White and Carr?
White Park, it's in the playscapes, but it is not spread now. It's in the process.
Is Carr spread?
Good 95% of it.
Okay.
So, no.
It's just been sitting there for like a long time.
Probably about 4 weeks, yeah.
Kids are having fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, the kids are having fun. They're playing on
King
it.
of the Mountain. Wearing it out before it goes in.
So, but, if you haven't noticed, the grass is growing quite fast, so maintenance has been really busy with that. We've had churches help in the past. We've reached out, spoke with them. We get no calls back. We've put out messages to the community asking for help and volunteers, and we haven't gotten any help there. So
it's timing. So when you put the mulch in the parks in the spring, it's our busiest time because their grass is growing. It's raining a ton. Our seasonal people don't start, till end of this month, so you don't get the extra help. So what I would say is just wait another month from now, and then dump it. And maintenance will have a whole heck of a lot more time. They'll be fully staffed and.
Well, I think that's the thing. It's just been an eyesore for 2 months.
Right.
Or a month and a half, whatever it's been.
So I know that the park board planned on having volunteers do it, so we've been kind of hands off of the, other than what they've needed. So.
Okay.
But no, it is in the process being spread right now, though.
Thanks, Chris.
Yep.
Anything else, Greg?
That's
Mr. Gore?
Yeah, I'll touch on 8B real quick. And Gail, I believe I said it in the BZA meeting, it was a mess. That whole project was an absolute mess. Mr. Dersch was there, Mr. Goldsmith was there, and that's probably got to be one of the most complex BZA meetings I've sat on in 4 years. There was so many moving parts and pieces, and it was going every which way. I wasn't comfortable at all approving that. So I would urge my fellow board members to look at 8B, look at the paperwork, look at the information we have. I mean, I can try to answer some questions, but there was a lot. I bet you it went 2 hours at least, every bit of that, for that BZA meeting.
I wish I would have known it was going to be off. I spent a lot of time
We might not have to
doing that.
Because moving forward, the road commission might deny it.
Right. They could. Absolutely. It has to do with the turning radius, that 2-foot turning radius for a fire truck or something like that. There's a lot going on. As far as Memorial Day, folks, let's get back to the meaning of Memorial Day. It's remembering our fallen soldiers. And not about it's the first long weekend and we're camping and we're barbecuing and everything like that. So thank you, Lamar. I'll say thanks to Todd, even though he's an office pogue, and for those all that
He didn't fall.
yeah. So again, let's get back to remembering what it's about. So that's all.
Mr. Bruni? Everyone have a good night, good weekend. Have a good Memorial weekend. Bedford lacrosse is doing really good, so I've been getting a lot of Facebook posts on them, so good luck to the Mules in lacrosse. Thanks.
Ms. Janizek?
Everybody have a great rest of your evening, a nice weekend. Be safe and have a nice weekend. Happy Memorial Day and be safe.
Hey, Ms. Hirschberger?
Township Hall will be closed on Monday, May 27th, to observe Memorial Day. As Lamar was telling us, the American Legion Post 192 and Lambertville VFW Post 9656 will hold their annual Memorial Day service. It starts at 11 a.m. May 27th at Lambertville Cemetery, and my husband will be playing taps. He plays every year. He's been playing for over 35 years now, taps for that Memorial Day service. Even in COVID, when no one else came, we went and we played taps. The office will be closed Wednesday, May 29th, the clerk's office, I should say, from 8 a.m. to noon for more mandatory election training. The newsletter will come out June 4th, and if anyone is interested in being an election worker, please stop by my office, fill out an application, because I will be doing a training class on June 13th.
Again, I want to thank the fire department. 4,100 calls. That's a lot of calls and a lot of hard work you guys put into everything you do. Again, everybody said something about Memorial Day. I just want to say, my heart goes out to every family member that's lost somebody, and within that. So I do want to say the DDA, the Downtown Development Authority, is placing a wreath at the Pearl Evergreen Park to honor our fallen veterans. So I appreciate them doing that. And exciting news, the roundabout is moving forward. And the road commission has gotten their funds. Exciting news, I know you're excited. $600,000 with a shortfall, so we ended up getting a hold of some state reps and senators and representatives on that SEMCOG board, and they came up with the money, so it's fully funded. The job is moving forward. We had a meeting at Township Hall a few days ago with the road commission to discuss some of the details. I would assume that bids will be let out probably towards the end of the year, and construction will be next year sometime, spring, summer, sometime like that. Not really exactly sure on details, final designs. Information on it is yet to come. So there's more work to be done with engineering. So it's happening, Lamar. Also moving forward with the Secor widening project. Spoke to the road commission again about that. So that they are short funds. Same thing with the roundabout. Everybody's having issues when you get funds for a project that's far out. The prices have gone up. So I believe that project has gone up quite a bit. So they're working on more funds for that and to see about moving forward with that project. So that's going to happen. It looks like they're going to blow out that whole intersection and hopefully take it to state line and be able to, have traffic run smoother through there. Mast arms at the DDA are moving forward. We've gotten our final easements from Kroger. Took a long time to get the easements, so I'm excited about that. There'll be a mast arm going in front of Quimby's over there, and the entrance for Quimby's and Pearl Evergreen Park, and then the entrance at the other side where the chiropractic offices and Purple Penguin and all that. There will be a mast arm at that entrance where American Table is. So excited about those two projects. And I want to thank all the churches that come here before meetings every week and pray. I know we've gotten calls at the Attorney General's office over it. How shameful it is that we get calls at the Attorney General about praying before a board meeting. We need prayer more than ever in this community, this township, and this country. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry, but we're going to continue doing it. and I appreciate that. So God bless you for coming, and I just think it's great. Myself, Trudy, and Krista had a meeting today with Al as well with the gas company. It looks like moving forward in the future, we're still in early stages of figuring out how to get rid of the gas lights. So Lamar, that'll affect you, but it's in very early stages. But they want to see them, at some point, I think 2026, the gas company, not us, it's come from the gas company, that they be changed to electric, have normal street lights. So that there's 4 neighborhoods, 2 of them have associations, one being Lamar's, and 2 of them don't. So figuring out all that. But a lot of work yet to be coming, and the gas company will be doing a lot of the work for that. So to get the residents to understand what's happening and communicate with them. So other than that, it's been a great week. Weather's been great. Mr. Gore?
Just need a little clarification, blindsided with the roundabout, that it's happening. Do we not have any say-so in it whatsoever?
The previous boards voted. So the previous boards voted to put in 175. And so that's...
Nothing else has...
If they ask for another 100,000, that's when this board was going to have to step in and vote again. So that's why you're not...
So there'll be no vote come before this board on the roundabout whatsoever?
No.
And it's because of the previous board?
Right.
Okay. And are we going to get an update from the road commission? Are they going to come here and give a presentation to our citizens?
It's very early. This all just came out. They voted 3 weeks ago for the roundabout to be dead. And at that point, they called me, and I said, give me another chance. Let me come to my board and ask for the money. So I sat back, and I thought, well, I'm going to call Mayor Bob Clark. So I had a long conversation with him, and I had a conversation with Bellino. Okay, I think Mr. Pryor called Bruck, but I believe those 2 made the phone calls, and those 2 made it happen. So they let the road commission know about the funds. Nope, not trying to get credit, don't really care. All I care about the project because it's needed. And at that point, the road commission took it back to their board last week and voted to accept the funds and move forward because it's fully funded. That's it.
Just wanted to make sure it was clarified that we're left out of the loop.
This board was only going to vote if it had come to this board that we need 250 instead of 175, which we don't. We're sticking with the 175.
I'm telling everybody it was your idea.
Yeah. Sorry, Todd. So, all right. Anybody else have anything they'd like to add? Okay, motion to adjourn? Okay, we'll adjourn.